Let's go, man. We back. Wholesale
What up?
Hardknocks,
What up?
episode 17, bro. Yo, Mike, can you believe that it's episode 17 already, bro?
That is crazy. You know what's funny, bro? What I was thinking about the other day, I was just looking at my YouTube channel, and I was looking back at the interview that I did with you. It was like one of the first times that we actually had a conversation.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, both of us are literally two completely different people from that time.
Oh, yeah. 1,000%, bro.
So crazy.
1,000%. It's awesome, bro. It's been an amazing journey, man, and we're only getting started. So super, super exciting. Dang, we had one person jump on, they jumped off. All right, let's get it. So yeah, today we're doing real estate Q&A, guys. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to post a question on my Instagram for people to ask questions. And Mike, I would say do the same. And then if you guys have questions here, put them on the chat, put them on the Instagram, and let's answer questions today. So let's get it. But overall, like I get the same question all the time. Like literally.
What was that?
Bro, and it's the most, I'm not gonna say it's the most simple question, but it's like the most vague question that I get asked every other day, bro. It's, oh, I see what you're doing in real estate, blah blah blah. How do I do what you do? How do I get started in real estate? Bro, if you had to go back and tell somebody, if you had to go back and tell Mike Gomes from, you started real estate 2 years ago?
Yeah, just about.
All right, so 2 years ago, you had to go back and tell Mike Gomes, what the hell? You have no clue what wholesaling is, what real estate investing is. You had to go back those 2 years, have a conversation with yourself. What would you tell yourself?
So I think everybody's situation is obviously different. What I would tell a younger Mike is, dude, stop spending your freaking money on all this lead generation that you think is going to solve your problem.
Before you know what lead generation is, before you even know what that is, bro.
Okay, so how did I find out about real estate?
I don't know. But you just know what real estate is. You just know what it is.
What I see is I might see a couple of Cody Sperber's ads or something on YouTube.
Okay.
Right? And I see these checks and I'm like, dang, how the heck do I get these checks? What would I do? I would immediately search on YouTube, how do I get started in real estate, right? Like, and then fall in the rabbit hole of YouTube, but I wouldn't stay there.
Can we pause right there quick?
Go ahead.
I feel like people underutilize YouTube so freaking much, bro.
Yeah.
Like so much, bro. Like, yo, you know how many times I get questions and all I do is search on YouTube and send the link? Like, bro, let's stop there. Like, if you guys are still trying to figure out how to get started in real estate, start with YouTube. You guys are in the right spot. Obviously, right now, you're on the YouTube channel. You're watching us talk about how to get into real estate. But guys, every question that you guys need, I promise you, it's on YouTube. It's on the internet somewhere. All right, my bad, Mike.
Yeah, so like there's a couple of ways people will get introduced to real estate. So I think that is that's going to depend on what route they take, right? Like maybe they got introduced into real estate because they know of a family member or something that was crushing deals or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like however they get introduced is usually going to depend what their next action is going to be. But let's just say, let's give two examples. The first example, let's just say somebody saw a Cody Sperber ad or something like that with the big checks, right?
Yeah.
For that person, I would immediately keep looking at YouTube. Like you just said, like, dude, there's a lot of people pumping out a ton of content, right? And I would just be like, what is wholesale real estate? How do I get started in real estate? But like I was saying, I would not stay on YouTube. I might fall in the rabbit hole a little bit, but it wouldn't be a rabbit hole to learn. It would be a rabbit hole to figure out who I'm vibing with the most.
Yep.
What person putting out a ton of content am I vibing with the most? And then I would go follow a lot of their stuff. I would deep dive into their page and their content that they're putting out, and I would figure out if they have a course or not, or if they have a mentorship. And I would keep doing that until I found the right mentorship or the right person that I felt like was a good fit for me and my personality. And I would dive into their mentorship immediately rather than just staying in YouTube University. Now, that is what I would do, because in the beginning I had money to spend on lead generation and everything like that, which, to my point, I would not spend the money on lead generation. I would spend the money on a mentorship to figure out the best way to do lead generation. So that's what I would do. So that's the first example of like my first initial steps. Second example is if you get introduced to this by maybe somebody in your network. And this sort of happened to me as well. Mm-hmm. My father owns a drywall company and he does a lot of work for fix and flippers. So I remember being a laborer for my father when I was younger, and I used to see the fix and flipper walking the projects and essentially telling us what to do. And I'm like, oh, I want to be that guy. So what did I do? I asked my father for his number and I gave value to that guy. And I said, hey, bro, I want to bring value to you. Can I come and just demo your house for free? Who's working on a project? Can I just come labor for free for you? I literally went to the dude's house and labored his house. Like I was freaking on my hands and knees laboring.
Yeah.
In exchange, I made really good friends with him and he taught me the game. So like a combination of both maybe, or depending on what route you were introduced to real estate in is what I would do.
I love that answer, bro. I love that answer. Me personally, it's something very similar, right? I always tell people, find somebody who's doing this and get on their team, right? And learn that way. Like, but when you're on somebody's team, right, you need to understand why you're there, right? What is the reason for you to be on that team? What is your whole driving force on that team? Like I had somebody come to me yesterday, and a really good friend of mine, like one of my best friends in high school. He still lives back in my hometown. He is wholesaling right now, right? So he came to me. He's like, "Yo, D, I work for this company, right? I'm wholesaling for them. I feel like I'm wasting my time." I'm like, what do you mean you feel like you're wasting your time? He's like, I didn't get into this to be a wholesaler. I got in this so I can do fix and flips. I can buy rentals. He's like, all I know how to do is wholesale, but I don't know how to buy rentals. I don't know how to buy fix and flips. I'm like, okay. So what are you doing with this company right now? Right? He's like, I'm generating leads, like my own leads, and then I'm locking them up. Right? They do the dispo, they do the transaction coordinating. We do everything. We split everything in thirds, right? So I'm like, all right, that sounds great. What do you mean you're wasting your time, right? He's like, all I'm learning how to do is wholesale. I'm like, okay. And he's like, when I bring a lead that maybe the dispo person doesn't like or doesn't have a buyer for, it's like I just wasted my time. I'm like, okay, I see where that makes sense, right? And I'm like, bro, well, first of all, don't look at it as a waste of time, right? Because last year, you had no clue what an ARV was, right? Mm-hmm. So first of all, you're learning the basics of real estate, and you're learning the most important part of real estate, how to find a deal, right? Yeah. Now, if you don't want to wholesale, if you're new in the wholesaling is like an entry, it's like a gateway drug. Right? Like not everybody needs to wholesale. Not everybody wants to wholesale forever. Right? But it's important. I think me personally, if you want to learn about real estate in general, work with a wholesale company and you can see literally everything from point A to point Z about real estate. Right? And what I told him was, bro, if you want to learn the other stuff, then first of all, find your own buyers as well. Right? Build your own buyers list and still use them to do what they got to do. But when they have a buyer that buys a deal from you guys, do exactly what Mike did and go up to him and say, hey, can I labor for you for free and learn this business? Right? You know, you truly want to be a flipper or buy and holder. You don't want to wholesale. Work with buy and hold people. Work with flippers.
Yes.
Right? Learn from them. Learn from people actually doing the business. Right? But be grateful for the position that you're in now because it's helping you get to that position where you want to go. Right? So I would say if you know nothing about real estate, but you know some people who are heavily doing real estate on a daily basis, provide value to them by saying, hey, I'll work on your team for commission, right? I just need to learn. I don't know anything. I know plenty of people who would bring somebody on their team, and like me included, I'm still looking to bring some more people on my team, right? So I say go work for somebody else, work on their team, learn the ins and outs, and then I have an upfront contract with my team. I tell them like upfront, like I'm not expecting you to stay with me longer than 3 months, right? By that time, you should figure out what the hell you want to do. And if you want to stay longer, stay longer. If not, then don't. Right. So like that's how I recommend everybody getting into getting into real estate, getting your first deal, working with somebody else. But as far as like the knowledge part of things, go on YouTube. Go on YouTube University. And like Mike said, that YouTube University, if you don't have money, I know I didn't have money at first. So I was on straight YouTube. I learned everything that I could from YouTube. I would have appointments set and have no clue what to do. I'd be watching I remember vividly, I went to go talk to my very first buyer. I sold this guy a deal and he wanted to have a conversation with me. And I'm like, damn, I need to ask this guy questions so I could send him more deals. I had no clue what to ask him. Right. So I pulled up a Jerry Norton video on questions to ask buyers. And I literally was watching it an hour before my meeting with this guy, wrote the questions down, went on a meeting, ask them the questions, right? That's my whole journey with YouTube, right? I had an issue. I looked it up on YouTube, how to solve the problem, and I went and implemented what I learned, right? So if you guys are going to be in YouTube University and in the mentorship, right, do not become content, do not consume content, right? You use the content that you get to make things happen, pretty much, right? Use it to take action. You don't sit there and watch it all day and binge watch it like it's a freaking Netflix video. Like it's not. This is information that you need to implement, not information that you just need to sit there and say, "Oh, this is cool," right? Watch a video as you need it. Yo, did you get through all of Pace's all of the modules?
Heck no, bro. I'd still be watching.
Exactly.
Like, bro,
100%. What do you say?
What I do now is I still go back and watch some things. Like I had a couple questions on pre-foreclosures not too long ago. And I went back and watched some pre-foreclosure Zooms. Yep. Like that's what I do now. At first, I was obsessed, especially with sales, because that's the thing that I knew I wanted to focus on the most. So every single seller call that Pace has ever been on, that he's put in the vote or on YouTube or something, I've probably listened to.
Right.
Like, I just got obsessed at that point.
Don't get me wrong. I've watched all of Pace's seller calls twice, right? But twice, maybe 3 times, right? But it's not. I wasn't just sitting there, especially during money making hours. I was not doing that. If I was, I was probably driving somewhere.
So this is exactly what I did. I took one thing that I really wanted to hammer, which was sales, and I dove deep on that content. And then every single time I learned something in those money-making hours that you're talking about, I would go implement.
Yep.
And then just keep doing that. And you just keep stacking skills on skills on skills. But to Daryl's point, if you're just sitting there watching seller calls the whole entire day while you should be making seller calls, you're never stacking skills.
Yep. So I love it. We got some more questions, guys. If you guys are just not jumping in, we're doing everything Q&A. So make sure you guys put some questions in the chat. I made a post on my Instagram story. I got some questions coming in from there. Mike got some questions coming in as well. So if you guys are on the YouTube and have questions about anything real estate investing, put them in the chat. Mike, I got a good one right here. Jonathan Rivera says, what are some great markets to get into? New Jersey is saturated and super expensive.
I agree with you, bro. I'm in Massachusetts. So like We do Mass, Rhode Island, and CT. Now, here's the thing about up here in New England. It's like the volume of deals isn't as much as something like Florida or South Carolina or North Carolina or something like that. There's not as much volume for sure. However, the spreads are bigger. So when you hit, you hit. So in the beginning, right? I call this a mindset blocker. I used to have this mindset blocker where I was like, dude, this just doesn't work in my market because it wasn't working, right? Like, I'm like bashing my head over the wall. Why isn't this thing working? Is it just Massachusetts in general? Is it this Boston market? Like, does it just not work up here? That wasn't the case. Like I said, it was a mindset blocker. I just used it as like an excuse because it works. I'm doing it now. This is the only market that I market in, really. And it was me. It was my process. And pretty much I had to look in the mirror and say, dude, it's not your market, it's you. It's your sales process, or it's your lead generation, it's your culture and your on your team or whatever. Like, there's something else going on there. This business works in every single market, like 100%. It just might work a little bit differently, but for sure. So I wouldn't just say, hey, New Jersey's super saturated, like it's super expensive, there's no deals in here, I'm getting out. Like, that wouldn't be my reason to get out. A good reason to get out, though, could be like, hey, I know I want to buy and hold in the future. So let me go pick a market that makes more sense to buy and hold as far as like tenant laws and cash flow and everything like that. Like, for us, we're building this beast of a direct to seller wholesale business and dispositions business up here in New England. Like, I want to be the biggest in the freaking space up here when it comes to that in New England. But I have no appetite to buy and hold up here. So what we're plotting on is build that beast up here because we already have a really good network up here. It's working for us. Like, it's already working. So why go somewhere else with it? And it's our backyard. Like, I like doing deals up here. My family's up here. Like, it's my backyard. I want to do deals in my backyard. Once I found out that I could do that, I'm like, all right, let's triple down. So I'm like, okay, let me stay in New England and hammer this wholesale operation up here. And once it gets time to graduate into my buy and hold aspect and venture off and do that business, I'm going to go pick another market, because then I know how to go find deals. Then it's just pulling a list. Like, if I want to go buy all my deals in South Carolina, I just pull a list and go build a presence down in South Carolina. And I start acquiring deals down there because it's a little bit better for tenant laws. And maybe I want to live down there or something like that, or Florida or something like that. That's how I'll pick. That's down the line, though. So for now, if it all depends on like what you're trying to do. If you want to grow a wholesale operation and you're like, hey, it's not working because New Jersey is too saturated or too expensive, I would challenge you and say, no, it actually does work, because this works in every single market. There's something going on in your process that's preventing you from getting deals done. Are there more deals somewhere else, like South Carolina or Florida or something, as far as volume? Yeah, for sure. Like, you're probably going to get more hits, but I wouldn't use the saturated and expensive thing as what I call like a mindset blocker of not doing it in that area. But to answer the question, what are some great markets to get into? I think those markets, right? Like South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, Atlanta.
Bro,
Phoenix.
the markets, the saturated markets are saturated for a reason.
Right.
People want to buy there. Buyers want to buy there, right?
Yep.
So it's your job to do deals there and bring these deals to buyers, bro. There's so many houses in every single market. There's so many sellers who need to sell. It does not matter what market you're in, bro. You can do deals. Mike, you live in Boston, really saturated, really expensive market. I live in Arizona, really saturated, really expensive market, right? Like, I do deals nationwide, but my highest assignment this year was in Arizona. So like, it does not matter where you're doing deals at, as long as you're consistent. I tell people, you want to be in these markets with everybody else, with all the competition. You should thrive off of this competition. This should make you want to get better. You should squad up with people who are doing a lot of deals and say, yo, how are you doing so many deals in this market, right? To me, it seems really saturated, right? How are you doing it, right? I know Dennis Yasko is in New Jersey crushing it, right? I can name you 5 people in New Jersey who are just crushing it off with one hand, right? Off the top of my head. Raphael, Dennis, Maurice, Will Ayarza, and one more person, but I know for a fact I can do it, right? But I just named you 4 off the top of my head. There's so many people in New Jersey that are crushing it, right? And bro, you just got to do it. You just got to be consistent, and you're gonna get deals out there. You're gonna find people who want to sell their property. It does not matter what market you get into. Now, for like I know people say like during recessions and stuff like this, and you want to get into secondary markets, right? When people think the markets are about to crash, you want to get into secondary markets because those are rental markets, right? People are going to be buying in the rental markets. They don't care about the equity as much. They're going to be looking for more cash flow, right? So some people say get into secondary markets, but bro, I like the big markets. I go where the big buyers are at.
I think like a great market is depending on the person.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want? See what I'm saying? Like, I want to do deals in my backyard. That's why I hammer my market.
Yeah.
I don't want to virtually wholesale. I like going out and looking at properties and going on seller appointments and having meetups and all these types of things. I like doing that. I want to build a presence in my own market, and I want to do deals in my own market. I want people to come to my projects and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't get me too excited to virtually wholesale. I'm not saying that virtually wholesaling is not the wave. I'm just saying for me, I know myself personally. I want to do deals where I'm at. I'm a very hands-on type of person.
Exactly. And I do everything virtual, right? Like, and I get to see the other side of it, right? And I get to pick my favorite markets just on what I like, right? Like Vegas is one of my favorite markets just because I like the way the houses look and I like the weather out there. And I like just the
market,
like Vegas, right? Vegas. It's one of my favorite markets. Like, don't ask me why, right? Has nothing to do with like real estate data. I just like Vegas, like so it's one of my favorite markets, right?
Daryll must have got into some stuff at the Clever Summit.
You know what it is, bro? My first time ever in Vegas, I won like $5,000. My first time ever gambling.
I knew it was something.
So I'm like, yo, I like it here. I would live here.
I love that.
But yo, don't overthink, bro. Like that's an overthinking question that Pete stops. And I'm not saying that you're not taking action, but that is an overthinking question that stops people from taking action. Right? What market should I get into because they think that their market is too saturated? If people are crushing deals in Arizona, the most saturated market in the nation, right? The most competitive market in the nation. People are getting their first deal out here. People are getting deals on a daily basis out here. You can do deals literally anywhere.
Yeah, there's some dude in my accountability group up here in New England who he did his first deal in Arizona.
Exactly. Bro, I'd run past houses every single day that are abandoned, that are trashed, distressed, right? So like there's deals out there. There's deals out there.
Really what it is there's problems everywhere.
Exactly.
And if there's
search for problems,
deals.
You'll find deals. I love it. Mike, anybody ask you any questions yet, bro?
Let me see.
If you guys welcome, if it's your first time here, make sure you guys are subscribing to our YouTube channels. Me and Mike's YouTube channels are both in the description below. Make sure you guys like these videos for us. Make sure you guys tune in every single Saturday for Wholesale Hardknocks. We are doing a Q&A right now. Every Saturday, it's either me and Mike, or we'll get special guests that are crushing it in the game to come in and just drop gems every single Saturday. Shout out to DeAndre. I just got your sub, bro. Good looks. Guys, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Mike, did anybody ask you anything, bro?
Yeah, somebody said, what is your form of marketing? So for me, my form of market, actually, Daryl, you can answer. What's yours?
Yeah, I really love this because we have completely different business models, right?
Yeah.
So we can give everybody like multiple sides of things, all right? So mine, I am cheap, right? So I don't like paying for marketing. I pay $0 a month in marketing, right? So I am strictly JV. In sub two, we call it the Lanza method, where I am calling leads, calling sellers, closing deals for other wholesalers, right? So when people have a problem, whether it's they don't have the time to make the calls, they're generating leads, they don't have the time to make the calls. Maybe they get stuck with a certain seller. Maybe they pitch terms and their seller didn't like it and they want me to pitch terms. Maybe it's just a dead lead that just doesn't want to work with them, right? I call the leads for them. My team calls them. We close the deals for them. We follow up with them. You just send a lead to jvwithdaryl.com and that's what we do. We close them for other people, right? So I haven't spent $1 on lead generation since early this month. Well, actually, a couple months ago. I haven't spent $1 on lead generation. We've been doing strictly free leads, JV method, JV model, and I love it. I love it. Now the issue with that, right? It's you're gonna get a lot of creative opportunities, which isn't an issue, right? That sounds crazy. People are like, what the hell? That's not an issue, right? But the issue with only issue with creative leads is they take a lot longer to close, right? Sometimes there's a lot of issues that you have to deal with creative deals, and a lot of times it just takes a lot longer than it's supposed to. And you can't really control your lead generation, right? So like I can't control when multiple people so one day, right, we may get 20 leads in the system. The next day we may get 2, right? So there's different ways that there's different strategies you need to do, different things that you need to do to get your face out there, get people to know you, get people to trust you and send you leads on a regular basis, right? So it is tough. It's tougher to scale out of a JV model. Mike, what do you do?
Well, before we go on to me, I was going to ask, how did that start? Like when you first started this JV thing and you first started generating these JV leads?
I was broke.
But like, bro, how did somebody recognize that they could even do that? Just naturally happened. Somebody was like, "Hey, bro, I know that you close. Here's a lead. Can you close my lead?"
Bro, just like I was talking about earlier, right? I worked for somebody. And that was their main business model. It was JV. And I learned a lot from them. I learned how they do it. I learned what not to do. I learned what to do right. And then I had no other options, right? I had no money. And Pace was like, yo, provide value to the community, right? Tell people what you can do. You can close deals. Tell the world you can close deals. Show the world you can close deals, right? And provide value to the community, and it's going to provide it back, right? So I started just being extremely loud, showing people what I can do, showing people that I can close deals, and telling people that if they need help to come to me. And that's where it started, bro. And it just haven't put it down, just kept it going. So it started off out of necessity, and now it's like I just don't want to spend money on leads because why do I?
That's funny. So, do you remember your first time you got a JV lead?
The very first time I got a JV lead?
Yeah.
I don't remember the very first time, the very first lead I got, but I remember the very first person. So I like to connect with people who are integrators, right? Or are generating leads, but they want nothing to do with talking to sellers. Right. So I remember the very first person that I connected with that started sending his leads directly to me. Right. So he'll generate a lead, his VA will talk to him, and the VA will put the information right into my system. Right. So now it's like I have a cold call business pretty much. Right. So I remember that first guy. Shout out to my boy Adam. We got a couple of contracts under contract, but we didn't get any deals for him. And we're still working on getting some deals for him. But my boy's in Gulfport, Mississippi, where there's no buyers, and it's really tough out there. So and that's the difference. So going back to the last question, right? that's why I said go to those markets that are saturated, right? Because they have buyers, right? It's so much harder to find buyers in markets where people are not playing, right? If you don't have many people selling houses and buying houses in those areas, it's gonna be so hard to find buyers for the deals that you lock up, right? So but yeah, that I remember that's the first one. I look at my JV business as this is a repeat and referral relationship business.
Yeah.
Right. So it's my job to make the process as smooth as possible, as simple as possible, for the experience, for the user, right? The user experience. So like I put things together. So like not only will it help me, right? Because with JV, you get a lot of people who are hitting you up on a daily basis, like trying to figure out an update on their leads and whatever, right? I have none of that because I set my business up the right way. I went through trials, I went through tribulations. I had to learn some things the hard way, but now people don't need to reach out to me because I put things in place that give them updates before they even think about it.
Yeah. You've helped me a lot, bro, with that.
Sir.
Like, dude, your JV is next level.
Thanks, bro.
Love it. But that's interesting. Because the reason why I asked your first one, because I just had my first essentially JV partner who's been sending me consistent leads. That happened probably about a month ago.
I love it.
And I think I'll always remember it.
Yeah. No, for sure. Like especially a partner who like continues to send you leads on a regular basis, bro. Like I notice everybody, like even though I don't make as many calls, like Harvey, shout out to Harvey, he's in here right now. Yo, I have so many leads in my system from Harvey.
He's sending me some too.
Yo, Harvey's the shit, bro. This guy's like a lead generating guru, bro. He has so many leads and they're good leads. Like my VAs.
Where the heck is he getting these leads, dog?
All right, my lead managers, they love Harvey, bro. Every time they see Harvey send the lead in, they fight over who's gonna call it. Like,
I love it.
It's awesome. So like it's a referral, it's a repeat referral business, right? Which some of the best businesses are. Some of the best organic businesses are referral based, repeat. You don't need to do many. You need to do much marketing. You gotta do marketing, but you don't. It's more organic, right? I like it better when when somebody else tells somebody else, right? Hey, go to Daryll to send your leads, to call your lead, close your deal, right?
I like what you said, bro. How you were just putting yourself out there and pouring value into people, because I remember when I first got into sub 2, I heard this thing. Like I've actually, let me step back a little bit. Before I was in sub 2, I heard just like on Facebook and YouTube and stuff, people talking about JV. I don't even know what the heck JV stood for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just saw people talking about it. And people saw me on Facebook as a wholesaler in the area, and they would contact me via the messenger and say, hey, you want a JV? I'm like, yo, what the heck is JV, dog? Junior varsity? Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And then they're like, no, bro, like, because I would send out a deal on Facebook, and they were like, no, JV, like, you want me to find you a buyer? I'm like, hell no, dog.
Same, bro.
You know, that's really how I used to think, and it's crazy how your mindset changes a little bit. But I got into sub 2, so that's what my mindset was with JV before I got into sub 2. And then I got into sub 2, and I was like, oh, this JV thing isn't like a bonehead type of thing. Like, this is actually, you could build a legit, like
it's the way to do it. It's
like, this is a really good business model, and you're helping a lot of people out with it, right? So I go back to Facebook. I was the same people that was hitting me up.
Yeah.
Hey bro, send me your dead leads. Hey bro, send me your dead leads. I can remember somebody texted me back, right? And I felt some type of way, bro. Honestly, he texted me back. He's like, bro, just be honest. You don't got your own leads. I'm like, damn. But I was going about it the wrong way.
Right.
I was just going into a conversation. I would just see people on Facebook and see that they were wholesaling and be like, hey, bro, I do creative finance. You can send me your dead leads, which is, it's cool. I guess it's a good little strategy to gain traction. But to Daryl's point, Daryll is getting JV leads from pouring out value into people and connecting with people, right? And having people see Daryll as somebody who can close, right?
Sure.
Mike just DMing somebody doesn't help the situation.
Yeah.
But
I did that too, like just DMing people, and it didn't work, bro. But it's actually funny how you said that, how everything comes full circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first started, bro, I did not want to JV with anybody, bro. I'm like, JV 50%, like you did the easy part. You're find a buyer. That's easy, right? I got the deal. Like
now I'm like, yo, please find me a buyer.
right now, yeah. I don't want to touch this, but like go find a buyer for me, please. I'll gladly give you 50%. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely funny how things come full circle and just the growth. Mike, what about your lead generation, bro?
So we cold call and text. Like that's our bread and butter. We have virtual assistants doing initial outbound reach. And they reach out to somebody. They say, hey, would you ever sell your house? Somebody says yes. They ask a couple more questions to qualify it as a lead. Then it goes into our system. It gets circulated in our system. Pretty much our lead manager, who has a little more extended conversation with the seller, she's the one who filters through our system and waits for a hot lead to come up, aka a lead that has motivation, ready to sell in the next 30 to 60 days. Once that happens, it goes to somebody on the acquisition team. But essentially, we're directly reaching out to somebody via text or a cold call. So we're pulling data from places like batchleads.io and PropStream, and then we're skip tracing them, which means like we're pulling homeowners' information, like their addresses and their names and stuff like that, and then we're bringing them through something called the skip tracing software that will get all their contact information. So we get their public data information, like, hey, what's their address and their name and stuff like that. And then we bring it through another software and we get their contact information. And then from there, we put them on a dialer, which means like we take this list that has a bunch of different prospects, which a prospect is a name, an address, and phone numbers. And we put all that on a dialer, and our virtual assistant hops on a dialer, and literally it just trickles like this all day. Boom, 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 boom. And as they're calling, they're just having homeowners pick up. Somebody says, yeah, I'd sell my house, and they go through our sales process from there. But essentially, we have 4 virtual assistants right now, and then 1 acquisition manager in the States working all of those leads. And then from there, we also have a JV business as well. Not super, super heavy like Daryll is, but we're generating a decent amount of leads. Like this week, we generated literally it was our biggest JV week. We generated like 40 leads for JV.
Really?
Which is pretty good for us, yeah.
That's good, bro.
Overall, bro, like if you factor in all of our cold call and texting leads, we generated probably almost 100 leads this week. It was probably our biggest week yet.
That's good, dude.
But it was somebody who was like, hey, I'm just going to give you the majority of my leads.
Right.
Like one of our JV partners.
Those are the best ones, bro. Close as many deals as you can for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. We cold call and text.
I love that. I need to get into cold calling and texting. Why do you think cold calling and texting is the way to go?
I don't think there's a way. I think there's your way.
Yeah.
That's
a good point, right? They all work. All the strategies work.
Every one of them do. PPC works, radio works, direct mail works. Every single source of lead generation works. You just got to be consistent and you got to do it the right way. If you're doing those 2 things, then you're going to get deals. Like I was talking to Claudio, shout out to Claudio. He's getting into PPC and he was telling me all about PPC. And we are going to go down the PPC road in the next few months for sure.
Same.
But I'm excited for that, bro. Honestly.
Me too, bro.
I'm taking all those leads myself in the beginning. But
Facts.
it's
I'll
it's a different
so
world.
my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but when you get into that, because I did some PPC back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you some tips how to get that right, bro.
Say no more.
I got some sauce. I got some sauce for the PPC.
Okay. Yeah, dude. All the marketing channels work. Like direct mail, it works if you're doing it the correct way. I know a dude up in New Hampshire. His name's Chris. Shout out to Chris if he's watching. He's crushing the direct mail. Like he has a whole entire system at his crib where literally you can. It's like a machine, bro. That it looks like a pen is writing on a piece of paper, and he sends those out. And he has really certain messages that he sends out to these people that make people open up the note and call him. So all of it works, dude. Like literally everything works. It's just picking what makes sense to you and your strategy. Here's the reason why I got into cold calling and texting. I was doing everything else. I was actually doing PPC. I was doing direct mail. I was trying to get on the radio. Like I was doing a ton of different things. Nothing was hitting because I wasn't consistent or doing any of them the right way. And then I ended up having a stack of mailers. I had like probably 150 mailers that got sent back to me from vacant properties. And I looked at them and I'm like, holy crap, there is so much opportunity in this little stack. I have to call these people. Like, how do I get in touch with these people? And then I went down the rabbit hole of, hey, how do you cold call and text? Found out that I probably should not be doing that on my own. I should probably hire that out. And immediately I got a virtual assistant to start cold calling and texting for me. So that's how I started cold calling and texting. And then all of a sudden I started generating leads and I'm like, wait, holy crap. I'm getting like 10 leads a week. And to me when I first started, I'm like, that's a lot because I was trying to do radio, PPC, everything, and I wasn't getting any leads. So immediately, bro, I was generating leads. That's the great thing about cold calling and texting. You can literally start today and start generating leads.
I love it. So
you can do that wherever. Like it's super controllable.
For sure. So Harvey has a question here. Before locking up a deal, do you guys make sure you have a buyer lined up, or you guys lock up a deal and then market to find a buyer? Mike, what do you do, bro?
Depends on the deal for us.
Yeah.
For me, I'm a fix and flipper as well. Like I know my fix and flip numbers. So I'll know what's a deal. See what I'm saying? So if I go on an appointment and, I've walked the property and saw it, I can analyze it and understand that, hey, we'll probably have a buyer at X just because I've been doing this for a decent amount of time now. But when it comes to a property like in a weird area, definitely we go find the buyer first. The reason being we locked up a deal in an area we had no idea about, like I think a month or two ago. It was in the sticks up here, Massachusetts. I didn't have any buyers for it, but the numbers made a ton of sense. I had it under contract at 200 grand. The property was worth ARV of like 400 and it only needed 60 grand worth of work. Like that's a good deal. So in my eyes, I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah, let's lock it up. I locked it up with $1,000 earnest money deposit, non-refundable. And we couldn't find a buyer. So we had to pay the guy $1,000.
Dang. So we kind of do the same.
I should have reached out and found a buyer before I locked it up.
Yeah. We kind of do the same. We want to find our buyers first. That's preferred to find a buyer. Like I want to sell the deal the same day I lock it up. That's the type of time that we'd like to be on. But every deal is different, right? Like if I know for a fact that this is a deal, we can lock it up. I have an idea of who the buyer is going to be. Then we'll lock it up. If it's in one of those weird areas like Mike was just talking about, I've been coaching my team to get option contracts. Rather than us saying like, I don't know too much about this area. I think we're just going to wait to find a buyer, or I think we're just going to pass on it. we just get an option contract, right? So we'll tell them like, hey, you know, I'm not the buyer for this. I would actually never buy a property in this area. It just came across my desk. But I do know 3 or 4 people who would buy that property. They actually do flips out there. They hold rentals out there currently. I know some people out there who would buy it. Now here's the thing, right? I'm not a realtor, right? So I legally cannot market this to somebody else without your permission, right? So what we would need to do is get some paperwork in place, right? Just saying, here's the price, here's what the price of your property is. Well, here's what we're gonna buy. Somebody's gonna buy your property is. We'll put that there, and then I'll market this to my buyers in that area. They will pay me, right? So that number that we agreed to with you, you're gonna get that. My buyer pays me a sushi dinner on my side, right? And you get this house sold, right? How does that sound? So we do option contracts a lot for those rural areas. What's up, Claudio? Well,
We're just chatting with about
yeah, we were just talking about you, bro. Your name, your ears must have been ringing, dog.
Yeah, dude, I love that. What we've been putting in our contracts to that point, like we have one that we have under contract right now as one of those option contracts. And here's what I wrote in the additional terms and conditions. I told the seller up front, just like you're saying, hey, this isn't a deal for me. We would have to be like $50,000 lower. It just doesn't fit our buy box, but I might know. I think I might know another buyer for this. Give me like 14 days to figure it out.
Yep.
So in the additional terms and contingencies, he was concerned. He's like, yeah, dude, but I don't want, to stay in this contract for a while. I want completely out. In the next 14 days, if you don't find somebody, I don't want this stuck with me at all. So I'm like, okay, cool. What we'll do is in the additional terms and contingencies, I'll put, if this contract is not assigned within the inspection period, then this contract is null and void.
I like that.
Like word for word, that's what we put in, and that's essentially our option contract.
Yep, I like that. It's just being upfront with the seller, right? Like I love that. I love just telling them like, hey, I'm not gonna be the buyer, but I may have a buyer for you. It makes me feel a lot more comfortable, right? Doing an option contract. And just tell them like I have it in mind. It's just a regular purchase contract, and I'll just put optionee optionee does not need to close on this property, right? I put some other terms in there, but it pretty much just states like I'm not buying this property. I'm going.
So is it a purchase and sale agreement?
The purchase and sale agreement, but in additional terms, it has the option agreement. So,
got it.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
I've seen people use like actual option agreements before, and then they got to go back and get a purchase agreement signed.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like murky waters. I wouldn't recommend that. I would just say get it locked up under a purchase and sale agreement so you don't have to go back and get another one signed.
Heck yeah.
An option contract, what it is essentially is a piece of paper that states, hey, I have the option to purchase your price at a certain number. Then you go out and shop that out. Boom, you find a buyer, and then you have to get it under contract under a purchase and sale agreement. And it could get a little bit messy, right? Like you go back to the seller and you say, hey, I found a buyer. They're like, okay, buddy, where? And then they try to come back and renegotiate with you.
I love it. So Benny said to add on to Harvey's question, where do you find end buyers?
To be honest, bro, the majority of our deals get sold through other wholesalers. And we're in the middle. We're in the middle right now of building out our dispo process. So we'll be internally dispoing from pretty much here on out, probably like 50-50 to begin. But a lot of them just get sold through other wholesalers who already have a big operation. But what we're doing is we're taking our deals that we have right now and we're building buyers lists around those deals, right? Like we're marketing those deals and getting a bunch of buyers interested in it and then putting those buyers in our system. And then going forward, we're going to have a virtual assistant directly contacting cash buyers to put them in the system. And you can do that through Facebook, or you can skip trace these people and call them. How about you, Daryll?
Let me show something pretty cool quick. So there's so many different like technology is just insane today, right? So let me share my screen. Now you can do this with Privy, you can do this with PropStream, you can do this with Batch Leads. You can literally do this with anybody, right? I use Privy. Go to filter. Make sure you click fix and flip, right? You select all these properties that have been fixed and flipped. Say you want to pick a market. All right, let's just say Phoenix. Oh my goodness. What are these? Let's just click on one. These are all fix and flips. Oh my goodness. Now let's see. You click on one. You go to public records. And boom, here's an LLC that you can skip trace. And
Let's call him, bro.
Let's call it. I don't have skip trace on service because I don't skip trace, dog. So,
just go on Google.
Google, STOA accusations.
Yeah.
You guys see all my tabs?
No.
Bro, you might have to do this, bro. I don't skip trace at all. I have no clue.
Just forget it. Let's go on to the next question.
I don't skip trace, bro.
But with that being said, what would a conversation look like with a buyer?
It's actually way easier than talking to a seller, right? Because when you're talking to a seller, think about it. You're reaching out to some people who may not want to get calls, right? When you're reaching out to a buyer, these are people who want you to call them, especially people who have active fix and flips. They're looking for their next fix and flip, right? So you call somebody and you say, hey, Mike, this is Daryll. I see you just did this flip over here on Main Street. I'm a wholesaler in this area, and I come across deals every single day. Are you looking for your next project? Do you want your next project? Because I probably have it here in my pipeline. And Mike will be like, hell yeah. I want you to send me this one and all your next ones because I'm an actual fix and flipper who actually does the business, who actually fix and flips deals, who isn't a wholesaler, who wants you to send me deals because I don't know how to find deals myself.
Right.
So they're excited for you to call them.
Yeah, it's a much easier conversation.
So easy. So easy. So guys,
actually for me, I would rather call a seller.
Me too, all day. I'd rather call a seller all day too, but it's an easier conversation to have with the buyer because they want the deals, right? Like they want you to send them deals. You don't have to.
There's no friction.
No friction, right? You don't need to use. I mean, yeah, it's still sales, right? But these people, especially when you're like, these people want you to call them, right? They want you to call them. So guys, all you need to do is literally use a website. Right, use a website. Hey, Witchley, I'm not talking about using Privy to find sellers, right? To find on market deals. I was just talking about to find buyers. So like, go to that property that's recently fix and flip and is on the market for sale or just recently sold. Skip trace that person who just did the flip and call them and sell them more deals. Right? We're talking about finding buyers now. We're talking about finding buyers. You could also go on like PropStream has a cash buyer tab, like a whole buyer tab that people who bought properties for cash in the area. PropStream, you can literally make a list of everybody who bought. Like I see Rob, you said you need a buyer in Smyrna Beach, Florida. Bro, go on PropStream, go to Smyrna Beach, Florida, click cash buyers, and you'll find a list of hundreds of cash buyers in that area, right? Skip trace them, call them. You can use Batch Leads to skip trace them. You can use, I don't know, you can use TruePeopleSearch.com to skip trace them and just call them, right? There's so many things you can do. Any other ways to find buyers, Mike? I know me personally, we usually just go with wholesalers as well, people who have JV, who have buyers already, right? And then we got a question down here that says, what's your cut when somebody else disposed? I just do 50-50. I give them 50%.
Yeah, we just launched our JV website not too long ago, and we put on it pretty much if we lock up the deal, we do all the follow up and closing and all that stuff. And we dispo, it'll be a 70-30 split. If the wholesaler that brought us the lead does a dispo, it's a 50-50 split.
Yeah. So, and I mean, even like when I lock the deal up for somebody else and get somebody else to do the dispo, I get that person who found the actual buyer, I give them 50%. But I do the same thing that you do to 70-30 when somebody sends the lead in. But yeah. Heck yeah. Glad you're enjoying this, brother. Glad you're learning something. All right, so let's see what other questions we got. Benny, my brother Benny. Shout out to Benny, man. It says, yo, Mike, just curious how much your marketing costs are per month with all the lists, VAs, and how many leads you generate with 4 VAs, or how much money per lead, cold call, and text. Damn, Benny, that's like 5 questions, dog.
To keep it simple, for us, we spend about anywhere between $6,500 and $7,500 a month. And that gets us 3 deals a month. So if you do the math on that, what's that? 7,500, let's just call it $7,000. $7,000 divided by 3. We're at about 2,300 per deal. Isn't the freaking ROI on wholesaling crazy?
That's crazy.
Like that's crazy. You don't see that in any other business, bro. You're seeing like 15% margins, maybe 10% margins, something like that. Dude, we spend freaking $7,000 to make like 50.
That's awesome. That's awesome, bro.
PPC and stuff. If Claudio's still in here, what he was telling me the other weekend about like the ROI on PPC is bananas.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like it is just next level. The PPC for Daryll is literally infinite. I mean, the ROI for Daryll is literally infinite.
Yeah, probably spend like $500 a month for like systems and stuff for like my CRM.
But yeah, for that whole entire system to do about 3 deals, and that's in the Boston market, right? That's if we took our system and we went somewhere like the Carolinas or something, we'd probably be doing more deals. So our cost per contract would be probably lower, but would still be doing the same amount of revenue.
Let's see if we have any more questions before we wrap it up, guys. Yo, so let's kind of like just, I don't know. I want you guys, like people that are new, right? Oh, here we got a question. When you first got started and it was just you only, how many deals a month were you able to do? Like a half a deal a month? Like yeah, like so like everybody's different, right? So like when I first started, I was actually, and this is so weird. Like when I first started, and then when I got my first partnership, I was doing more deals by myself than I did when I got into the partnership, like the beginning part of the partnership, right? Mm-hmm. But I was extremely consistent, right? So like but when you're by yourself, you're gonna hit a block, right? Because you have to literally do every part of the business, right? So you gotta do the lead generation. So like what I was doing was I was waking up every morning, cold calling for like 3 or 4 hours a day before I go to work, right? Cold call, hit the phones hard. Then I go to work and I was texting, send a text blast all day, right? When I got a lead that wanted to talk to me, I'd run to the bathroom, get on the phone with them, whatever, right? So I ended up getting deals, right? I ended up getting 3 deals my first 3 months, which is not many people do that, right? Like it takes a lot of people. Like I don't want people to think like, oh, I didn't get 3 deals my first 3 months. Like I suck, right? Like no, things were just falling in place for me, right? But what the issue that you're gonna have is once you get a contract, right, then you need to open escrow. Now you got to deal with title companies. You got to make sure everything with the deal is okay, right? There's no liens. You got to make sure the title company's on top of their game. You got to make sure the contracts you got to make sure everything that a transaction coordinator does, you have to do that as well, right? So that's a full-time business. Transaction coordinator is a full-time business, right? Now, and on top of that, now you gotta find a buyer, right? Now you gotta do the dispo. So you're doing dispo right now. You're doing transaction coordinating, which are both 2 full-time jobs. Now you're no longer doing lead generation, right? Now you're no longer talking to sellers. So your pipeline slows down, right? So it's really tough to get consistent deals per month when you're by yourself, because unless you're squadding up with other people, unless you're letting somebody else do the JV, the dispo, and you have a transaction coordinator that's going to coordinate the transactions for you, you're going to get stuck wearing all these different hats, and one part of your business, or two parts of your business, or whatever part of your business that you can't focus on at that time while you're doing something else, is going to dry up. Right. And the number one thing you don't want to dry up is your lead generation. Right. If you don't have leads, you don't have a business. If you don't have leads coming in on a daily basis, your business is going to slow down. So if you're focused on doing transaction coordinating, finding a buyer, doing all this stuff, and it's still your job to cold call, it's still your job to reach out to sellers, you're gonna slow down, and you're going to start up and build that momentum all over again. Right. So you can only go so far doing it by yourself, in my opinion.
I agree, bro. I'm unlike Daryl. Daryl's a freaking savage getting 3 deals in his first 3 months. I didn't get my first deal for like the first 7 months because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. And I guarantee I spent like way more money than Daryl in the beginning, like a freaking absolute bonehead, thinking that here's my problem. I thought money was the savior. I thought that I could put money into something and that it was just going to come return, like you hear on YouTube, right? Like the ROI that I was just talking about. Yeah, that's ROI. The numbers sound cool and everything like that, but that's over the course of, I think we did the numbers right. I think it's 400 hours that my team works in general a week.
How much?
400.
Yeah.
Like everybody on my team puts in like a total of 400 hours. So yeah, that's the ROI. You can look at it as like, yeah, you're going to put, this amount of money in to get this amount of money back. But think about the hours too that it takes. So you got to have your ROI on time as well. But where am I going with this? As far as, what was the question again?
It's doing how many deals were you able to do by yourself?
Right. So yeah, to Daryl's point, he was doing a deal in his first 3 months. I didn't get it until the first 7 months because I thought that I could just put money into it and it would come back. The difference between me and Daryl, the reason why Daryl was getting deals in those months is because he was getting freaking active.
Yeah.
Like he was on the phones talking to sellers, like really in the trenches of this business learning. I was too, but I was more so like just, hey, let me throw some money at it and hopefully some leads come in. Yeah. Daryl was talking to people like constantly every day. There was days that in the beginning for the first like probably maybe 3 or 4 months that I didn't talk to nobody because I didn't have any leads. I literally had like one PPC lead in like 3 months.
Yeah.
After spending a shit ton of money. So I wasn't gaining the skill sets that I needed. You know what I'm saying? And then I hired my first virtual assistant, and all of a sudden she starts generating me 10 leads a week. And I'm the one following up on all those leads. So I started stacking skill sets. I started getting in the trenches of what this business really is. Because before I thought the business was you throw money into it and money comes back. But that wasn't the case. I had to actually work and learn. And in that process, so 3 months goes by. I only generate one PPC lead. We did not close that lead. And then after the 3 months, I got a virtual assistant. She starts generating me like 10 leads a week. I had a couple contracts from that I wasn't able to sell. And then 3 months, like 3 or 4 months after that, I was about to quit. And then I get into sub 2. And Pace told me, oh no, dude, you're actually generating leads. Like, good job. You have something here. Right? I was doing this on my own. And what did I do in those like 3 to 4 months? Because I wasn't converting and I wasn't making money, I thought I had to throw more money into it. So I got 2 more virtual assistants. I had 3 by myself generating leads. I was probably generating like 30 leads a week. That's a lot of freaking leads, bro.
That's a lot of leads, yeah.
It's a lot of leads. And I was following up with them by myself. So Pace told me, bro, you're doing a good job. You're generating leads. Like there's something going on. Like it has to be a different problem. Oh, it's your conversion. So he taught me how to freaking talk to sellers. And that's what led me to actually converting. And literally in my first 3 weeks of sub two, I landed my first good deal. And then from there, I started doing a deal every 6 weeks, kind of like what Daryll was saying, like a half a deal a month. That was by myself because everything wasn't consistent. I had 3 virtual assistants and I was doing the lead management. I was doing the dispo, the closing, the dispo, the transaction coordinating, the whole 9. I was doing it all by myself. So when I stopped the lead management and went on appointments and dealt with dispo and everything, my lead management dried up and nobody was making those calls. So that's only a deal every six weeks.
So I got my first 3 in my first 3 months, and it took me another 6 months to get my next deal. So like it was fool's gold, right? Like I was thinking this is easy, right? But the whole time my lead generation slowed down and I had to pick it back up. So a barren art, you're saying that's where I'm at, not calling enough sellers, been calling mostly buyers in fear of not being able to dispo if I do find something. So, and this is what I would do, right? I'm not saying go ahead and do this, but if I was in your position and I spent a lot of my time building a buyer's list, I would find people who are wholesaling in my market and have contracts who don't have buyers, right? And say, hey, I have buyers, you have a contract, I'll bring my buyer to this deal to split it 50-50 with you. Let's JV, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll get deals way faster that way.
You would get my deals.
Yeah. You get my deals too. If you already have buyers, honestly, bro, let me know what market you're in because I do deals everywhere. So I probably got deals that we can help you out with if you're in a good market anyways. So that's what I would do. I would personally say, okay, so I've spent all my time talking to these buyers, building relationships with buyers. I know a lot of wholesalers don't. A lot of wholesalers in my shoes, they do the complete opposite. They'll just call sellers all day. I know I did. I just called sellers all day, right? And that's where you can help out, right? That's where you can step in and help the wholesalers out, right? Be a dispo house. People make millions doing dispo.
I think it's probably more lucrative.
And faster.
Way faster, bro. Because think about it. For us, we generate a lead, and that lead doesn't get converted for like freaking 5 months.
Yeah.
Like for seeing money, right? Like it takes a while for these leads to convert. And if you're dispoing, you're getting the lead as it converted.
Yep.
Like that thing is supposed to close in 30 days. Or
a lot of times after 2 weeks because wholesalers try to do it themselves. And then they come to you and like, okay, this deal's ready to close. All right, well, my buyer can close in 3 days. Boom, you just got paid in 3 days. Like
it actually makes me jealous.
Yeah, low key. So that's what I would do.
You know why though? People like because you see everything on YouTube and everything for talking to sellers and all that. It's like the sexy thing in real estate. You know what I mean? Sales is like the sexy thing in real estate. Talking to sellers is what everybody looks in real estate as what the sales is. But dude, sales is talking to buyers as well. You have to sell a deal.
For sure.
It's just not broadcast like that everywhere. But dude, it's probably more lucrative to be honest.
Sounds good, bro. Yo, so I love it. This was I want to see some feedback. Did you guys learn anything today? If you guys did, make sure you subscribe to both of our channels. They're down here in the description below. Let me do a like check. We only got 4 likes on my YouTube. I don't know about Mike's. We only got 4 likes on my YouTube. We got 11 people right now watching. So make sure you guys like this video. Like this video, subscribe to both of our channels right now. That shows us if you guys are liking the content. That helps with the algorithm. It helps other people see this content, helps other people learn. So make sure you guys are liking these videos, subscribing to our channels. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Make sure you guys are liking these videos, subscribing to the channels, and tuning in every single Saturday, 9 a.m. AZ time, 12 o'clock Eastern time, where we'll be coming live. Wholesale Hardknocks live every single Saturday. We're gonna have special guests, and it's gonna be me and Mike every single Saturday.
Sure. Can we answer this really quick?
Yeah, let's go.
Need a mindset shift. Was trying to squeeze every dollar out of my first flip, and Pace just said to wholesale it and move on. I'm struggling with being okay letting it go and only getting a split. So here's the thing, like whatever you're focused on, Rob, is what you need to do. If you're focused on wholesaling, then your business, your wholesale business needs money. Like it needs you to go pull more lists and maybe hire a virtual assistant and everything. And it needs that now. So if you got to wait 4 to 6 months for your money for a flip, your wholesale business, like Daryll was saying, because the lead generation isn't being worked on all the time, is going to dry up. So that's probably what Pace meant. Pace meant like, dude, just go take the money and just reinvest it. That way you can build this beast. Because what happens, right? Like I used to have a guy that I knew, he was a fix and flipper, and he would do direct mail, and he would send out a bunch of direct mail and then get a couple deals from it and then stop the direct mail. And then all of a sudden go to sell his deals and be like, oh crap, I don't have any more deals. And then it'd have to re-kick up the lead generation as far as direct mail and stuff. And it would be a repeated process, right? So every time he went to go sell a deal, he'd be stressed out and be like, shit, I got to go market more and go find another deal. And he just never ended up getting a well-oiled machine when it came to lead generation. He actually stopped all lead generation. Now he just does essentially JV like Daryll does, which JV is freaking amazing. But at the end of the day, he had a good thing going on with direct mail. And if he just actually focused on direct mail and maybe wholesaled one of the deals that he got, right, to put his time and effort into scaling the direct mail business, then he would consistently now have control of his marketing rather than having to wait for people to bring him deals. Actually, he would have both. What are your thoughts on that, bro?
I'm not going to lie to you. I was typing an email. My bad. So we're talking about this question. I need a mindset shift. Was trying to squeeze every dollar out of my first flip, and Pace said to just wholesale it and move on. I'm struggling with being okay letting it go and only getting a split. I feel like we need a little bit more context, but if Pace said to just wholesale it and move on, and you're fighting to, I guess, keep it and do a flip and make the most money out of it, and it's your first flip, I personally would say squad up with somebody to do a flip. But if you got to wholesale it to just move on, if you've never done a flip before and this is like a high level flip, I would say just wholesale it. Like me personally, right? Like my first flip, I'm doing it right now. We actually should be finishing up with it like early next week. It should be listed on the market. I wouldn't be doing it right now unless if it was a crazy high flip, like a crazy rehab, I would not do it. I would have just wholesaled it. And if I didn't have a great team like Elena and Kirk right now, that are doing work, who've done plenty of flips before, who are very trustworthy, who know exactly what they're doing, I would not be doing it. Right. So I've been wholesaling everything. And I'm doing this flip with them, and they're running point on it. Right. So unless you have a partner like that, I would say just wholesale it and move on, bro. Get to the next one. A split of something is better than a split of nothing. So,
you know, Rob, if to Daryl's point, if you did find a good team to team up with, you could wholesale it to yourself and flip it with the team.
That's what I did.
Hell yeah, dog. That way, because Daryll, think about it. Daryl's probably not spending too much time on the flip. What I meant by like what I was saying, as far as where you want to put your time and energy, you want to put your time and energy on keeping the leads coming in, because like I was saying, like the leads are your business. So if you go put all your time and energy into the flip, then your leads are going to dry up, and you want to keep your leads going. So that would be a really good idea. Partner up with a fix and flipper in the area and say, hey, dude, I need a little assignment fee up front in order to cover my marketing costs so I can go find us another deal.
I would say you got to bring something else to the table, though. If you're going to get assignment fee and you're going to get paid on the back end, you got to bring some private money or something. That's what I did. So yeah,
exactly. Bring some money to the table as well. and flip it with that partner who maybe already has the contractors and everything, and just let it rock. And then boom, you get your profits from the flip and an assignment fee, and you can keep marketing.
Yep. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So I'm liking to see people got value. Baron Ant said you just liked and subscribed. Shout out to you, bro. My boy Giscard. Great. Giscard, sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, brother. Great show. Got a lot of value from today's live. Much appreciated. Ben, subscribe, my brother. Harvey, thank you, fellas, for all the value. Let's do deals together. Harvey, it's coming, bro. It's coming real soon.
Yes,
Mike, with all good stuff, man. Mike, we still need to get on the call, brother. I'm so sorry. Let's get on the call today, bro. But yo, this was episode 17. Mike, do you have anything else you wanna leave the peeps before we bounce?
I appreciate y'all. Literally, we have 11 people watching right now. It's kind of crazy. I remember we started this, maybe one person would watch.
Yeah.
And now we have multiple people watching every single episode. It's really,
And it's like, and it's the morning time right? So we're doing it Saturday mornings. A lot of people are asleep, right? Still wiping coal out their eyes and eating cereal and stuff. And you guys are here learning real estate. So shout out to y'all for wanting to get better and wanting to learn.
Here's the thing. Shoot me a DM. I wish I had somebody in the beginning that literally would just answer everything. So whatever you need, whatever questions that you have, I will answer in my DMs on Instagram. So like I was talking to some guy today. I didn't even know that he was in sub 2. He posted a video. He had a sub 2 hat on. And I remember reaching out to him like a year and a half ago when I was just starting. And I was like, holy crap, dude, I didn't know that you were in sub 2. I got a lot of value from you. I used to just DM you questions and you used to just give me feedback. And honestly, you were one of the reasons that my lead gen started up and going before I was in sub 2 with my virtual assistant. So I wish I had more of that in the beginning. I wish I had somebody that I could just directly reach out to that wasn't like, at 100,000 followers and wouldn't answer my DMs. Like I will answer every single one to the best of my ability. And I'm sure Daryll probably will as well.
Yeah, maybe a little late, but I'll definitely answer it.
Love it. So if you guys have questions on lead gen or questions just like these, feel free to give me a shout on IG and I'll give you a video reply back.
I love it. Yo, so until next time, guys, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. We will be just working on just providing as much value as possible every single Saturday. So super grateful for everybody tuning in. Wholesale Hardknocks out. Make sure you guys subscribe to both channels, like the videos, and continue to tune in, bringing notepads every single Saturday. Peace.